Hello Dorka Demeter, welcome to the Horta House and thank you for accepting the invitation to Café Horta.
Thank you for having invited me.
Dorka Demeter is the world's leading Art Nouveau influencer. For several years, she has been sharing her passion for Art Nouveau architecture through her social media platforms, reaching millions of people around the globe. Her modern and accessible perspective has introduced Victor Horta and Art Nouveau to a new generation, transforming the appreciation of this architectural heritage into a contemporary cultural phenomenon. The question which brings us together today is how do social media platforms make Victor Horta's work and Art Nouveau accessible and known worldwide in an era of unprecedented global connectivity?
For me, this whole passion was born during the COVID lockdown, when in guise of sports, I started walking the city for searching Art Nouveau facades. So in 3 weeks, I walked 100 kilometers along the streets of Brussels. That's how I deeper discovered the heritage of the city of Art Nouveau. And then I started sharing it on social media, and I got nice feedback, so I just kept sharing it. So by now I have almost 80,000 followers from all over the world, from Peru to New Zealand and from South Africa to Sweden. There are like 85 countries from where my followers come from. So I feel that what Horta created here in Brussels, I can now share better with the world. I also created, besides my main profile, Magic of Art Nouveau, a profile dedicated to Art Nouveau Brussels. Because I realized at some point that no one was doing that, so it was a perfect occasion to show even more this amazing heritage of this city.
Did you expect to have so much visibility?
Not at all. It was incredible. Even a good friend of mine who's a renowned photographer, he told me that reaching the 10,000 followers in a few months' time, it was very impressive towards the audience and outside. But what I feel up to this day that it's the passion and it's my personal presence that makes it happen.
Do you remember the first time you visited this house here, the Horta House?
I came with my mother. I came with my mother probably 2011, 2012, something like that. And the reason I like coming back to this house is how I experience getting more connected to it. That first, when you see such an Art Nouveau house, you have this wow effect. You don't even know where to look. There are so many details. You're overwhelmed with this impression. And the more you come back, the more you calm down, but then you discover new angles, new details. One time I came for an exhibition opening, people were mainly gone, and I just sit down on the stair and I was just immersed in this feeling. So for me, this house particularly shows how to go deeper into discovering a house.
For you, why does Brussels hold such a special place in the global Art Nouveau landscape?
Well, for me, it was mainly explained the answer during the Art Nouveau year in 2023. In that year, we celebrated the 130th anniversary of the building of Hotel Tassel. And it was an architectural revolution, basically, what Victor Horta dared to do. It was touching upon the traditional layout of a Brussels one-family house and forming it to the owner's profile, to the owner's taste. And what he did back then, it was so revolutionary that it resonates up to this day with people, with modernity, with daring to do something new and big. And this is why I feel that actually European Art Nouveau was born in Brussels. So what better place to be than in Brussels to talk about Art Nouveau.
And do you have the feeling that there's something different about Art Nouveau in Brussels compared to the other cities you visit? Because you visit lots of cities and you basically always show the Art Nouveau through the cities you visit. Is there something about Art Nouveau in Brussels especially?
There are different aspects of Art Nouveau or different origins or different different searches, but it's mainly a search for identity. Here in Western Europe, it was the identity of a newly developing social class. In Central Eastern Europe, it was the searching of our identity of nations at the turn of the century, who we are together, what are our sources, what is our modern image. So that's how I would see the difference between Western European Art Nouveau and Central Eastern European Art Nouveau. For me, it's very interesting because I didn't learn art history and I'm not an art historian, but somehow I look at the facade and I just know this is Art Nouveau. Although it can be different, it can be floral, it can be geometrical, it can be inspired by folk art. For example, I'm Hungarian from Romania, and in Hungarian Art Nouveau, we have different types of Art Nouveau within, because some went back to the pure folk art and they were inspired by folk art. Some said that it has to be something very modern, so they were rather inspired by the Viennese secession, that it's more geometrical. So I think there's a huge variety within Art Nouveau, but it's still the last truly European style that connects us all.
How do you balance digital sharing with the physical experience of heritage?
For me, it is very important that everything I share is the reality. It's my travels, it's my discoveries, it's my feelings towards this architectural style. So I always, my departure point is always reality. It's what I see. Sometimes I share a door that it's not in the best condition, and then people say like, oh, what a pity that there's a letterbox, there's a poster. But for me, that's the reality. I'm not trying to make it nicer. Like, I don't want to create these new AI photos that look just picture perfect, but has nothing to do with reality. So for me, it's very important that whatever I do on my Instagram, it comes from my own experience. I went there, I saw that house. I only share my own photos. So whenever I travel, I take the photos and then I share them. But what is even more important, that sometimes I'm not doing this alone. And there's where another human part comes in the picture, that at the beginning, when I started Instagramming, for some months, it was the lockdown. I spent lots of time alone. And I started wondering whether I become like a gamer who is in this imaginary visual world, but has nothing to do with reality. And then through the conversations I started having on Instagram, I realized that it's not, because it's real people. And by now I met many of them, either just for meeting up for a coffee in their own region or place, or we are even traveling together with Phil, who's Art Nouveau man on Instagram. We have been traveling like 4 times this last year.
So you have a real network
yes.
of Art Nouveau lovers with whom you do your travels and everything. Why do you think Art Nouveau in Brussels is so special?
I think it's special because there's a whole ecosystem around Art Nouveau in Brussels. It's not just that we have a heritage, an architectural heritage that can be used or not, but we have institutions around it, and we have a very special circle of owners who are generous enough to let us in their houses from time to time, either by organizing guided visits themselves or by participating in different events when they open up the doors of their houses. And I think that this is kind of a welcoming into this Art Nouveau architecture, not just to see it from the outside and always be wondering what it might look on the inside, but there's a real network here that's behind. And also, if we talk of a network, many of these house owners are also members, as I am, of the Réseau Art Nouveau network. We short it as RAN.
Can you talk a little bit about this réseau?
Yes, happily. I joined myself as an individual member 4 years ago. It was established mainly to become an umbrella organization and to create a platform for cooperation of Art Nouveau cities and institutions all around Europe. So we have many museums or cities that have a larger Art Nouveau heritage that are brought together as institutional members by this network. But thanks to it, we also meet with some individual members who are Art Nouveau passionate, as I am. And we are also invited to the annual General Assembly that always takes place in a different city. And somehow I feel how we get even more enthusiastic about meeting each other, about creating these new connections, how the individual members bring this colorness in the institutional members, because for them it's work, for us it's just the hobby and the passion. But I really feel that belonging to the Réseau Art Nouveau network is beneficial also for the institutional members and the individual members.
Do you have the feeling that beside your work on digital platforms, you have brought something new to the protection of heritage, and maybe if you have had your own initiatives to gather people around the question of Art Nouveau conservation?
I'm really glad that my passion took form in 2 exhibitions already. And I also organized 2 roundtable discussions. So everything that started as a digital hobby, it became a reality. And during the Art Nouveau year, I found it important to become part of it, to contribute to it. So with We Love Brussels, we launched a big competition, actually, in which many, not just locals, but expats also participated with their photos. So we managed to organize a big photo exhibition. And there I also organized a discussion on how social media can really contribute to preserving heritage. Because sometimes it's not the perfect houses that I post. I post doors or facades that are not in the best condition. But on one hand, this does preserve and document these places as well. Or who knows, one day someone will see it and wants to restore or want to contribute to their preservation. And it was a wonderful discussion with another fellow Instagrammer and an urbex photographer, Reginald van de Velde, a Belgian very famous photographer. And we talked about how we can all contribute with our digital work to the preservation of heritage.
Do you have the feeling that your work and your communication on social media has helped Victor Horta being more known around the globe?
I very much hope so. I very much hope so, because you know, like you think of Barcelona and you think right away of Gaudi and you think that's the best place for Art Nouveau, right? And Brussels has this huge heritage. There are hundreds and hundreds of houses, and it all started with Victor Horta. And that's why it was very important, the Art Nouveau year, that finally shed spotlight on the city, that brought more into the front. Victor Horta did place more Brussels as the capital of Art Nouveau in Europe. And during that year, I was participating on an event every second day or every third day. There were exhibition openings, there were conferences, there were visits. And it was the year when I also managed to visit, for example, Hotel Tassel. It is accessible, but on very few occasions throughout the year. And I was also allowed to take photos. And I always feel that when I share something from Victor Horta, there's a special touch to it. It makes a difference, and it's just more spectacular than the other places that I share. So I very much hope so, that I could contribute to making it better known, the legacy of Victor Horta.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to head to the room that you would like to highlight. So let's go. So Dorka, could you share a few words about the space that you decided to highlight in the house of Victor Horta?
I choose this particular location because at some point from a French speaking tour guide here in Brussels, I heard this idea that Art Nouveau is air vers lumière. That's translated into English saying that it's air, it's glass, and it's the light. And I feel that this is the highlight of the house up here that really encompasses all that Art Nouveau is. The other reason I wanted really to come up here and look out on the 2 sides is that for me it shows the eternity of Horta's work. But it also feels like it's the multiplying effect of what I do on my Instagram and on my social media about his work. That you see more of it and it goes further away and it becomes just even bigger, even larger, and even more eternal. And I very much hope that with my Instagram I contribute to this place being better known, but also to multiplying this beauty in the world.